Good morning, FLOSSTUBE. This is FLOSSTUBE number 2. Welcome if you're new, and thank you ever so much for all the new subscribers. It was just so fun to get little pop-ups on my phone saying that someone had actually enjoyed what I put out there. So it's interesting because the first video I wasn't nervous at all, and now I'm actually nervous because now I know that people are actually watching me. So I just think it's funny. So today we are going to go over what I stitched for May and the last part of April, and there's lots of good stuff to share, so I hope you enjoy it. I'm going to start first by saying a huge thank you to 2 stitchers out there that actually mentioned me in their videos. I actually took notes this time, so Stitching Owl shouted me out, as well as Gammy Stitcher. So again, thank you so much, ladies. That was so kind of you to think of me. And it's very strange watching somebody's video and then hearing your name and you're like, what? So it was really fun. There were some people that came over from your channel, so I so appreciate that. So let's start with my book of days. It looks a little beat up because I spilt water on it. I've never spilt water on anything before in my life, but of course the first time I buy the book of days, I'm gonna wreck it. And it happened like in January. So let's just take a look at April. Now, I don't put stickers at all because I need the room because I stitch every day, even if it's just a little bit. So that was April. Now, one day I didn't stitch at all because we had just gone to Jasper for a bit of a holiday, and we had gone to the hot springs as well. So after like the 3.5-hour drive and the hot springs and unpacking and everything, I just wasn't up for it. But this is what May looks like so far. So doing pretty good. Okay, so I have lots of things to show. So I have some finishes, I have 2 starts and a finish, I have new starts, and then I also have whips, and then I'm going to talk about what I'm going to do for June. So first up, let's get my board here. So I finished this little Mill Hill kit called Coffee. All I have to do is cut it out and put the charm on and then put a little hanger. So I actually have a tree that I put my Mill Hill ornaments on. I try and do it seasonally, so I have lots of Halloween. I have a few Christmas, and I have a few in the spring, so I'm slowly trying to get more on, so my tree is fully decorated all the time. Next off, I finished my calendar girl May. So she's all done. So this was done on 18 count vintage country mocha, and it was done 1/1, and I talked about that in my first video, how I prefer the 1/1 on this material. So she's done. And then sort of my biggest finish that I got is the letter M from Nora Corbett. So I just finished her up last night. So I love this one so much. She was such a joy to stitch. I used all the called for, so I basically just got it all kitted up. I think from Everything Cross Stitch I got this one from. So I am going to get this one professionally framed just because I don't want to mess around with the beads. And I'm lazy, to be honest, so I'd rather have someone else do it for me. So there's her. And then my 2 start and finish or Mill Hill kits. So the first one is Verd. Now probably some of you who are like, hey, weren't you giving away that kit? Yes, this is the kit I'm giving away. I had an extra one, so I'm not going to give away a kit that's already done. Just for those of you who are like, hey, wait a second. So I finished him. Looks great. I love him. And then this one, sorry, I have to look at his name. I don't know why I'm saying it's his. I don't know, it could be a girl too. Murado. And this is the purple one. So they turn out so great, so easy to stitch. And again, it's Mill Hill, so it comes with everything. Great, so we'll start with the new starts. I have 3 that I did. So the first one is another Mill Hill kit, and it's called Come Stitch. And this is all I've gotten so far, so just doing the signpost. So I just do this on my lunch break. Because I work from home, it's really easy just to have lunch and then have some time to stitch. Okay, my next new start is from the Stitching Studio, and the artist is Sue Coleman, and it's Native Raven. I've had this one in my collection for such a long time, and I'm like, I just have to start. So instead of using 310 black, I'm actually using Old Crow. I believe it's a Classic Colorworks. So it actually has quite a tinge of blue in it. Now I know there is one called Raven, but I didn't think I had enough of the Raven, so I went with Old Crow. And this motif is actually done just with 1 thread over 2. Okay. And this one's done on a 32 count. Picture this plus Nocturne, I think. And this is what I have so far. It's kind of hard to see the motif, but it does show up quite nice in real life. So I was trying to sort of work on this every day. Just putting in a strand or 2. And it's quite easy because you, instead of stitching across, sorry, this fabric's being a little wildy. You just stitch down. So that's interesting because normally I stitch horizontally, not vertically. Okay. And then my next new start was a Boffy Threads called Know Your Tea. They actually have a Know Your Coffee, but I like this one a little bit better. So I actually got this from Amazon because at work, where I work, if you do like sort of above and beyond and your manager likes what you did, you get a $30 gift card. So I used the gift card to pay for some of this. Okay, and I switched out the fabric. It was a 14 count Aida, and I wanted it on a, I think this is a 32 count. So I just started in the middle. This is iced tea, and this is chamomile tea. Just need a drink of coffee here. My voice is a little bit off. My allergies are kind of acting up, so that's sort of why I sound a little froggy. Plus, I haven't really talked that much today. My husband bought me this mug when we were at Jasper. We actually stayed at a cabin, a beautiful cabin that could actually sleep 6 people. So I'm not sure why we got a cabin that big. There was just the 2 of us. But it was at Patricia Lake, and they had a little gift shop. So these, all these mugs are handmade, so they're all unique and a little bit different. Okay, next we're into our whips. So the first whip I'm going to show is the Resurrection of Christ. And this is the really bad photo that I have of it. So some exciting news. I've been talking to my husband about either getting Pattern Keeper or Markup RX. And I decided to go with Markup RX, and then he bought me an iPad. So I've been busy this week putting in my patterns, so I think doing full coverage is going to be a lot easier for me. So it's a bit of a learning curve. We went to the Apple store, and then we spent about 4 hours trying to figure out the program and trying to figure out the iPad, because it's changed quite dramatically. We basically have all Apple products here at home, but yeah, as you get older, you get confused a lot more easily. So yeah, it was a little bit harder than I anticipated. The program is actually really easy to use. There's some videos out there. So the problem is now I have already started all my full coverage. So now I'm like, do I have to go in and mark up all the pages I've already done? It's not like I've done a lot. Like this one right here, I'm still on page 1. So I think I'll just struggle with the paper pattern, and then on page 2 start using the iPad. I really wanted to be working on this every day, but I just haven't. So before I put it away, I do want that first page actually done, so then I can move on to another full coverage. Okay, and every Saturday I work on my monthly series, so I'm still working away on Calendar Girls. I've already finished June, so this is July, so I made a start on her just actually this past Saturday. And this is how far I've gotten. Just her sleeve and her hair. So she'll definitely be done and ready to go by the time July kicks around. Okay, and then every Sunday I work on a stocking that I'm doing for my family. I'm currently working on my stocking, which is called I Love Santas. And last time, in my last video, I wanted to get that one little Santa done in the corner, and I did manage to do him. So I finished up the wreath and then did this whole Santa, and then just working on this part. So he turned out so sweet, and as soon as I backstitch him, he'll look a lot better. But yeah, I just, there's like a little Santa right here too. He's kind of on like a little stick. So we'll just go back a little bit so you can see the whole thing. So this one's coming along really nicely. So I think I'll continue to work on it until I'm actually done. But again, I might change my mind. It's hard to say. And then I also work on my stand-up nativity set. So I got a lot done on the angel since the last time you saw her. So her dress is almost finished. I just realized last night that there needs to be a little bit of white here. I finished up her hair, I put in the beads, I put in the blending filament. And my last video, for some reason I said it was from Lewis Craft. That is not correct at all. It's from Leisure Arts. So you can actually go on the Leisure Art website and you can download all the patterns of all the stand-ups. So hopefully by the time my next video comes out, I should be done her or just on the back stitching. Okay, next is my sheep virtues. That is a gigantic piece of linen. In my first video, I had been working on it and I was going to work a little bit more on it before putting it away. And I basically got all the grass put in and started on the house. And then the next time it comes out, I'll obviously finish the house and then put in the sheep. And then around the outside of this, I can put all the 12 sheep virtues. Oh, excuse me. I have the hiccups. Okay, and then to finish off the month, let me just see if that's correct. Yes, to finish off the month, I worked on my April fairy from Mirabilia. Now, when I looked at her, I actually had to make some repairs because on rip out stitches because I put her sash like way off, like not even, you know, a couple squares off. I mean, it was like way off, so I'm not sure what I was doing that day. But this sash here was completely, this one right here was completely in the wrong place. So I got all the way up to her waist and completely fixed this. So she's doing pretty good. I'm pretty happy with the amount of work I got done on her. And then for May, I had said that I was going to work on my cat projects. So this is called No Ordinary Cats. It's by the artist is Sandy Orton, and it's Cooler Classic Charts. So this one, as I said before, has a ton of backstitch, and what I worked in was a ton of quarter stitches as well. So I have this on, I believe it's a 28 count, and I worked in the top part in getting this house in. So when I started, I just had this cat and part of this fence, and so everything else in the house was what I did in a week. And all of the cats are full of quarter stitches, so they kind of look just like blobs right now, but of course once you get the back stitch in, they'll come to life. Okay, and then I worked on Hands-On Designs Meow. It's one of their block parties. So I've already done the top, so I was working on the side. And this one I got a lot of done as well. There. So when I picked it up, I had this cat mostly done, so everything here I finished in my rotation. So I just have another orange cat to do, and then a mouse's tail, which is going to match up to this other side here. And then there's the top part, which is just a whole bunch of stitches and then some Smyrna crosses. And then I'll just have to do the bottom. The bottom isn't very much stitching, and then I'll have to watch the video and put it all together. So I'm very excited this one came along so quickly. And this is on a 32 count Oaken by Picture This Plus. Okay, and worked on Leopard Shoe by Designworks. And this one I got quite a bit of done as well. I'm pretty happy with what I got done. So I basically filled in this whole part. So a lot of it was already done, but there was a lot of fill-in to do. So I got that done, except there's like a few stitches here and there. So I think I'm still going to continue working on this because I think I might be able to get close to a finish, because there isn't that much to do. Just this shoe and then the back stitching, and then there's like a red ribbon that comes out. But yeah, I'd like to get this like to a point where it's almost finished. Now for plans, next month I'm going to do Thanksgiving, so work on items that have to do with Thanksgiving. And what I decided too is I have quite a few Halloween projects. So like Sunday I work on the stockings and the nativity set, and then Saturdays I work on the monthly series. So I think on Fridays I want to work on a Halloween project, just so I can get more of the Halloween stuff done. And usually Fridays are pretty low key for us. I just get off of work, and sometimes we order in food anyway, so I will have a good chunk of time to work on it. So what I decided to work on for June is When Witches Go Riding by the Prairie Schooler. And here's going to be my starting point. So still a lot of work. A lot of work to be done on this. Okay, and I also have the Halloween time clock. And I'm pretty close to having this done, so I think I'll work on this first and actually get this done, so by the time Halloween rolls around, it's ready just to pop into the clock. And here's my starting point here. So yeah, just it's almost done. So that should just take me maybe 2 or 3 sessions, depending on how much time I get to have. And yeah, so hopefully this will be done by the next time I see you. Okay, so for the Thanksgiving ones, I'm going to work on the Pair of Pilgrims. I'm working on Miles. And this is by Lizzie Kate. And here's where he's at. So this is the one that I talked about in my last video where I orientated him wrong, but I am hopeful that it will all work out in the end. If not, I'll come back next month being very, very sad. Okay, and I'm also going to work on Give Thanks for All Things, and this is Joan Elliott design. And it's supposed to be done in black, but I'm doing it in dark brown. And here's my starting point. This one actually stitches up so beautifully. Change. Oh, it's gonna fall. And it's so nice because there's not a lot of colors, so you can actually spend your time stitching as opposed to, you know, spending time switching out your colors all the time. Okay, and some of the other things that I want to start. This is a maybe. It's some Italian name, which I am not going to butcher. But it's called Blessed Pillow, and it says thankful, grateful, blessed. I'll have to look to see if I actually have any linen for this. It actually calls for 32 count cappuccino by Weeks Dye Works, but I might have something that works just as well. And it actually uses Valdani threads, which I actually purchased because I've never tried them before, so I'm kind of excited. But again, this is just a maybe. I definitely want to start His and Hers Thanksgiving Stockings by Plum Street Samplers. I actually thought these were going to be bigger, but they are uber tiny. They're done on a 35 count linen. I just chose ivory and with Weeks Dye Works. So I think the fabric that they have is a little bit darker, but I think ivory will look really nice. Okay, and then June in Canada is Aboriginal Days. So I wanted to start something that actually has a lot of meaning here in Canada, and it actually has to do with the reconciliation from the holiday that we have in the end of September, Truth and Reconciliation Day. Have to do with the residential schools and all the trauma that they caused, and it's a day for basically listening and learning. And this is Every Child Matters, so it actually represents all the children that didn't come home from residential schools. So I definitely wanted to have this ready to go in September, and because Aboriginal Days is in June, I thought it would be appropriate to start then. So all that orange is stitched, and I was like, I don't want to stitch that much orange. Orange is actually my favorite color, but I don't want to stitch that much background. So I was able to find an orange linen called Halloween. It's a 32 count. Now it is darker than this orange, but I think I'll just match up so the oranges match and don't clash. So I would like to have this finished as soon as possible and hung up in my house. Okay, and then for the last week in May, or actually I think I might start this today, I did decide to do the Sphinx Cat. So I bought anchor threads for this, that's what it was called for, and just doing it on a blue-gray linen. So out of the 3 cat projects that I showed you last time, I decided to do this one. And that is it. So that was a lot of stuff. I have a huge mess now, but that's okay because I was excited to show everything to you. So for the big winner of this kit that we had in our first one, it is Sandra McDonald 1507. So congratulations, Sandra. And again, it was just so much fun to respond to everyone's comments and get feedback. It was just so appreciated. So Sandra, I will do another comment on your comment, but if you could send me your email address, not your email address, sorry, I'm not going to email it to you, your mailing address, and if you could email me at stitchingwithmelva@gmail.com, but I'll leave that in the comment as well. So that's it for today. So thank you so much, and have a great day. Bye now.